Okay,
All right.
great.
Great job. Gosh, I remember why I wanted you on the podcast. You're just so passionate and you're not speaking from one or two talking points. It's just all embedded in how you actually see people, right? I love that.
Thank you. I think so. Yeah, I've zigged and zagged and had 9 lives professionally, and so, for me, it's everything's connected, right? All of the dots connect, and it comes down to this moment in time for me. So, thank you for having me. I am excited about how we can change the way that we think about hiring talent and developing talent, um, so that I'm a capitalist, so that we can drive business, right, and have
Yes.
better business outcomes. And so um, I think that can get lost. And while we do spend a lot of time in the world around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and making sure that we have um, just really great cultures in companies. We do a lot of that too. That matters to me. I like to make sure that the folks that we work with understand how these initiatives kind of go beyond the acronym that has been hijacked in the political conversation and the
Yeah.
zeitgeist, so that we can really align these things around organizational objectives and business outcomes that leaders care about, that we have to care about if we want to remain relevant, if we want to be seen as business partners in the organization as part of HR. Then we really need to be thoughtful and intentional about taking these initiatives, handling them in such a way that they align to things that matter and are measurable, so that we can make sure we're making an impact. So, if I may, a friend of mine, Angela Cooper, brilliant mind, has we spent a lot of time thinking through how what was it that we were trying to get at when we talked about inclusive companies, or we talked about equity in an organization. And so she's this really incredible framework that I have been using because it just makes sense. So when we think about diversity, right, the reason why diversity in an organization and having diversity of thought, lived experience, professional experience, cross industry experience on a team is because it leads to innovation. It means
Right.
that we solve problems better, not only for our companies, for the existing customers that we have, but it drives us getting market share and being more profitable. Like, and if when McKinsey's done a bunch of studies, they've been doing them over the last 15 years globally. And if I can get 24 to 30% more profitability in my organization by driving that, I should be fired if, as a leader, if I am not doing that, right? We have to be responsible to that. So when you think about diversity, it's really for that. It's about innovation and problem solving. When we think about equity, equity is really about employee thriving. It is giving people what they need to give their best in our organization, so that we as a company can grow and benefit from their presence, right?
Hmm.
If that means that I need to give someone some earphones
Yeah.
because they can't handle the extraneous noise, who cares? Give them some
Hmm.
earphones. Like, let's be inclusive on that, right? Also, when we think about equity, it's like, how can they access? How do we make our how do we give in our hiring practices the opportunity for people to show their best selves? Like, let's not make it scary. Let's make it as open as possible, right? As comfortable as possible, so that people can show up and we can really get to know what they bring to the table. And then day to day, giving them what they need to thrive, like employee thriving. Who doesn't want that in their
Right.
organization? We think about inclusion. We know that inclusion is the basis for high performing teams. I mean, research shows that that is nothing new. So, how do we make sure that people are in the conversation? They can contribute, that they have a voice, and that their contributions are recognized in a meaningful way. Because that then aligns with when I feel welcome and
Hmm.
valued, I have what I need to thrive, I feel like I belong at an organization, and therefore, I can then align with those organizational objectives, and we're all moving towards that North Star, right? Clear as kind. Let's all get on board. Let's all move in the same direction. And if I have all of those other elements, I can feel much more like this is my place. I can contribute here. And even if it's for 6 months, 6 years, however long I'm in this organization, I'm moving in that direction. And it's really clear. And then I make better decisions, and I'm thinking about the organization with a little bit of ownership, which always makes performance stronger.
Subscribers, we are talking to Natasha Nuytten. She's the CEO of Clara, which helps companies to be more data driven in their hiring, to approach hiring with this lens of skills. And of course, today that means you got to use AI, and it means being extremely thoughtful about how you're talking about these areas of belonging and inclusion within the
Mhm.
company. And if you've been listening, you can see just the wealth of not only knowledge but passion that Natasha has for really helping people be their best at work. Um, I'm Kelley Iuele, one of the hosts here at GDS Group, and this is our extended version of Strategy for Breakfast, where we are hungry to know what it is that makes people and their organizations successful. And this here on our YouTube channel is a continuation of our conversation with Natasha, where we talked a lot about the challenges today in all of this technology that's making it super easy for the job seekers to approach and send out their resumes and mass, and what the flip side of that looks like for companies, how they can be thoughtful and use technology, sort of leverage technology, what did you say, against itself.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think that there's a
Ex-
lot, when we think about that, there are a lot of tools. I think one of the challenges right now is that because there is so much technology, it's a commitment, right?
yeah.
And we have to carve out the time to do it, to educate ourselves and to be really thoughtful. And when we're so busy and we're all trying to do more in this very busy world that we're in, it can be really hard. But it is one of those types of things, like, like building a house, or building a family, like doing the legwork up front, doing the hard work to lay a really good foundation matters, and it makes it
Hmm.
easier as you're moving forward. And so there's some really amazing leaders out there. Like, I would say Charlene Lee is phenomenal, and she's been talking about the use of AI in technology and for leaders for a very long time, but not only just from like a how,
Hmm.
but the why, and the very practical, how do we then transform an organization and be forward thinking about things. So there are folks out there doing an amazing job of talking about it, but where we sit in the specifically in the talent acquisition and screening space with HR, I think it's important that we always make sure that technology, it's a tool,
Yep.
right? It is a tool. It is not to replace anybody yet, and we have to be really thoughtful. It may at some point, like, we would be naive to think that it's not going to change the way people do their jobs, that it's not going to be able to um, do jobs for people. I mean, the reality is, like, we just had, we've seen this memo come out, like, I'm not giving you more headcount until you can prove to me that AI can't do the job, right? Like, that's realistic and it's smart, right? Like, let's be efficient. At the same time, we need to be really intentional about the fact that when technology is being used, especially in these areas where it's human to human engagement, we just need to make sure that there's a human in the loop. And that's just
Yep.
super important. And they're being thoughtful, but using and balancing out to help mitigate bias. Technology is really great. It can do that. It can create a very consistent measuring stick, right? But then we need to make sure that we are taking it to the next step, and that those human beings are then checking themselves, right? And that we're using that data to find where are the bottlenecks, where are the problems, because now we have more information that can inform how we evaluate our performance, in, for instance, in our hiring process, and see where those things are sticky. What, like, it just gives us insights. We can just constantly get better, if we partner with technology rather than fight against it.
Absolutely. Is there a cache of data or a type of data that you see being underutilized? Because we know that companies are gathering all this data. Is there a spot where we're missing out on something that could be telling a bigger piece of the story? Do you see, like, I don't know, maybe it's exit interviewing, or maybe it's around skills. Do you see some area where we're not paying enough attention to our own data?
Wow, that's a awesome question that nobody has asked me in a really long time. Um, you are right. We do have a boatload of data, and just having it doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
You have to do something with it. I think a couple of areas, I do think exit interviews that you've mentioned is one area. I also think that we're underutilizing the ability to look at the skill sets and constellations that we
Mm,
have on our existing teams,
yes.
and building around that. For instance, one of the things that we work with partners on is, what do you already have in your
Yes.
organization, and so change what you need for this particular role. Like, do you need more leadership on your role? Don't just regurgitate the same old job description when you're hiring to add to this team. Like, really be intentional. Like, hey, this time around, we need someone with more experience because we just lost Joe, who has been with us for 14 years, and she had all this institutional knowledge, and we need to be able to replace experience, right? And the sort of veteran of the industry. Or, hey, we've got 5 Joes on this team. They've been here forever, and we need someone new who has fresh eyes, who's never looked at these types of things before. So really being thoughtful and intentional about the types of skills people bring to the table. I think that's another area. And then I would also say, I don't think most organizations have done a really great job of evaluating their existing processes and for hiring, and really thinking about, where can I make changes? Where do I need to make changes? Is it at the job description level? Is it at where we source level? Is it that we need to be more efficient, adding technology into some of these layers? Is it that our hiring, where we do hiring panels, man, we've really just, like, we haven't updated those processes since the aughts, and here we are 25 years later, and we're doing the same stuff we were doing in the year 2000. Like, really thinking about those things. So I think that those are 3 areas, sort of beginning, middle, and end, really, that I think we could do a better job at using data.
Oh my gosh, so much gold in this conversation. I'm so appreciative of you, Natasha. Thank you for spending time with us. Listeners, subscribers, we hope you have enjoyed watching Strategy for Breakfast. For more content, including the episode where Natasha goes into some more specifics about these tools, and I'm going to remind people that she was a little controversial in saying the resume is dead. No, but it's a very good reason why. It's the resume as we know it. So please check out that podcast and our others at Strategy for Breakfast. It's wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you would like to join us at a GDS Group event, we've got thought leaders just like Natasha speaking at our events all the time. You can find out what's coming out at gdsgroup.com. Thank you so much, Natasha. Appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Likewise. Cheers. Thank you for having me. And yeah, to endorse the GDS summits are well worth the time invested in going. So cheers to you and your team. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Take care.